Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Hubbardston Board of Library Trustees will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Deep breath. Specific information in the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with the right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the town website. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure the public can adequately access these proceedings in real time via Zoom. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the town's website a comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting.
Thank you. Okay, so my thinking was, because Ryan's here with us and probably doesn't want to be here our entire meeting, that we let you start, Ryan, and maybe you update us on the reason that you're here.
I would appreciate it, but I'm here for you.
Yeah. Go ahead, you start. So,
Where do you want me to start?
I guess last meeting we talked about our capital planning and where that stands, and the money we have plans, and then our town meeting, what we were approved for at town meeting. Anything to say about any of that?
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll show you the current budget situation and then the capital plan, and then kind of what we're looking for. And that's won't take as long as it sounds. So just give me 1 second to get organized, please. Okay, so this report is the budget versus actual. So it's all town expenditures, which we post online. And this is the old one. Hold on, please. Okay, so these are the current library or projects we have, capital projects under these special articles accounts. So right here you have library foundation repair. So I'll show you where that comes from on the capital plan. And I know that Tom is familiar with this for sure because we talked about it. And then down here in the CPA funding, there's this additional money. So this library foundation fund, it's called. It wasn't named great, but that's the same thing. So it's $18,000 to accomplish this. And then you have $2,500 in this expiring library long-range plan, which you have to spend.
Mm-hmm.
And then this it says library, but that's for the library roof. So it was a borrowing that was done to pay for the library roof. So those are the items that are left. And then I will show you. Sorry, I was in another meeting, so I have a lot of things open. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so this is the capital plan. As it exists now. This is a 5-year capital plan. So this section right here is the library. What's been requested or what we put together.
Mm-hmm.
So repairing the library foundation, the reason why this is 0 going into the special town meeting is we already funded $18,000 for the foundation study, with the idea that once the study is complete, we would have an idea of what we need to spend to fix whatever it is we need to fix. The architectural assessment was pushed off because this is a feasibility study for the large repairs that I know you're talking about in your longer term planning. And then 2 items that are on here are basement floor replacement. That's in the conference room downstairs. Mm-hmm. And then windows replacement is ongoing. And then we also have some green communities focuses. So this is grant money. That's down here. So it's not town funding, it's state funding, and that's to potentially replace the boiler and upgrade the lighting inside the library. So those are the some of the focuses in the library. I know that there's more, but the idea is we're trying to capture the big picture of all the capital that's needed so we can compare all the different department needs and then fund them in a 5 to 10 year capacity in a way that makes sense.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions or?
This is Tom.
Hey, Tom.
When viewing Ryan's tabulation of these things, I hope everyone understands the leftmost column was this year, and each column as you go forward or go to the right is a succeeding fiscal year. So we're really only, well, we should be focused on the whole thing, but we're talking about what would be column D in this presentation.
Yeah, this column here is FY21, which we're almost a quarter of the way through already somehow. And these projects right here. So 21, 22, 23, 24, 25.
Sorry, I'm getting my ear things. So I'm having trouble hearing everything.
July 20 starts fiscal year 21.
Okay, so Tom, you've been working to help us kind of spend that money, the money that we received at town meeting.
You want to talk about that?
Well, I mean, does anyone have any questions for Ryan? I think I just wanted to know where everything stood. And I hadn't really looked at the website. Now I know, now we know where to look, and maybe we can, you know, all kind of take a look.
I have I think two questions. One, the 2,500 that was in the long range plan that is coming up to expire this fiscal year, had that been earmarked for anything specific?
It had back when we were doing the long range plan. I think that was money that was allotted for someone we hired to help us create the focus groups and then write the plan, but he wasn't able, he started the project, but wasn't able to give us any real feedback or so. I think that's the money that's sitting there right now. Connie, is that true? Do you remember that?
That was before I started, but like based on previous conversations. Yeah, I wasn't here when, what was his name, Julian or something?
Alex, yeah. His
Alex.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I wasn't here, but that was my understanding. He had started some work.
Yep.
And then wasn't able to complete it.
Yeah.
So for the funds that were left over from what
Yes.
we had contracted with him.
Yeah. Oh, I thought I remembered your being part of the meetings. So yeah, so that our long range plan is essentially complete. So I'm not sure whether we could move that money to somewhere else or it has to go back into the pot to be asked for at another time, but I don't know if we need it for the long range plan.
I think it can be carried to the next year. If you, correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan, but the money is designated for a purpose in a long-range plan. And if that purpose stays the purpose, then you can move it to the next year with a permission of the CPA or CPC, whatever that committee is, the ones that contributed that money to us.
So that is correct. So you can't change the original intention of the article, but if the need for that article still exists, then you can petition the CPC to continue that money. And it's not uncommon. A lot of the CPA projects take longer than the projects that are in the regular capital budget because they're not as straightforward. Okay,
so then if that money was allotted for the purpose of our long range plan is complete. And so then we should double check and make sure that is what that money was allotted to. And then if it is, our long range plan is complete. So that $2,500, I guess, would have to go back.
I think that's what we have been saying about it.
We could go back to the CPC and ask them to change the purpose, and I think that requires a verification in the town vote.
Yep. Morgan, okay?
We could also sit on it for a period of time until we make sure that our long-range plan really is complete. Does any kind of state authority need to look at our long-range plan and say it's okay, or might there be revisions in the future? Might we need a consultant to do something?
So the long-range plan was approved by the MBLC, I think, last year or like 18 months ago or so.
Yeah.
I think it was like in April of maybe 2019 or something like that. And then you have to redo the long-range plan. You have to submit a new plan like every 4 or 5 years. I can't remember the exact date, but I think our plan goes from like 2019 to 2024.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it would be too much of a
That is
reach if excuse me.
Sorry.
I don't think it would be too much of a reach if we use that money to execute or carry out or implement some part of the long-range plan.
Yeah, so absolutely. So our job as trustees is we have to dig into that long range plan, and that was, we've been thinking about that for a while, and I think that's part of identifying our goals. And I don't think Ryan needs to be here to listen to this, but you're welcome. So I think what we have to do is, as trustees, is take a look at that long range plan. We have 2 new trustees since the long range plan was developed last year or 18 months ago. And so we are, it's there and it has been approved, and we will continue to work on it and update it and explore it as we need to. And I think that's a discussion that requires more consideration than just what we're talking about now, honestly.
So,
Go ahead.
go ahead, Joanna, sorry.
I was just reviewing the long-range plan, and we actually have a number of the objectives that we had for the within it. We've actually been pretty much on track with, other than the tiny little thing of COVID-19 hitting.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little.
Yeah. So, I wish we could all sit down and have it in front of us and like just be really reviewing it and going over it. This feels like a funny environment for me to review the long range plan, but I guess it's what we have. So what we should do is make a plan to sit down and like turn the pages and go through it. Agreed? Or
Can I speak? I was very impressed with Ryan's ability to put a document up on the screen.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of fundamental, but it's beyond me. I'm wondering, Ryan, if offline you could show me how to do that, or show all of us how to do that, and we could put the long-range plan up on the screen and go over it just like we went over the budget.
Yep, absolutely.
do that.
I do a lot of Zoom training. I should get some type of stipend from them.
You should. So it's sharing the screen, right? It's just bringing up the document and sharing the screen.
Yeah, there's some little tips and tricks, but fundamentally it's pretty easy.
Okay. So, so we really have Ryan here to talk about our capital plan. And
So I have 2 things if you have time for me. And I love being here, so I'm not in a rush. So the capital planning process, believe it or not, and the next budget process starts now. So we just finished 20. We're into 21 and we're already talking about 22. So it's just the way that municipal world works. So I will be sending out a request very soon to ask for revisions or additions to the capital plan. Because the first thing we want to do is get the financial forecast and in the budgeting world, get that stuff, that long-term planning into the process. So when we talk about FY22, it can be part of the conversation. So be happy to work with. A lot of boards and committees use a liaison for that to work with me, or we could have a working session at one of your meetings. And I'm not there to steer the steer the direction of it, more to facilitate getting it in the report, because ultimately I just want all the departments to ask for everything they need so we can know what that is.
Okay.
So that's just a heads up I wanted to give. That'll be coming next week to everybody to include this board. And secondly, you had some new members. So would you mind if I went through some of your accounts? Is that okay?
What do you mean by that?
So we just so this board knows what it has at its disposal.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
one of the
Thank you.
interesting things is this board is a standalone authority, which most of you know, but maybe some of the new folks don't. So I work with you, but you are the authority in terms of hiring, firing, appointing, and budgeting. So you can report directly to town meeting or to the Board of Selectmen, and you don't need me. So all I do is facilitate and try and create, a good relationship and help answer questions where I can, and obviously work with Chris to make sure she's supported as an employee. So it's a little intro to, just wanted to say I've been going through with every department, trying my best to clean up all the town's finances. And someone said to me, and not that there's a big problem, but there are some things that we need to look at. So one of the interesting things someone said to me this week was, I said, how come maybe this account hasn't been looked at before? And someone said, because no one's been here as long as you in a while, right? So maybe that's, part of the thing, and that's a good thing. So we're trying to dig into stuff to make sure that we know what everything is, what it's for, and where it's going. So that's a really long explanation to, I'm not looking to take away anyone's money or accounts. I just want to know what everything is so we can document it and make sure that we need it, and we shouldn't be using that resource somewhere else. Not trying to take anything away. Some people take that as that. So just wanted to show you. I'm going to use that screen magic again. So this report goes out. It's a public document. It's on the town accountant website under FY21 budget tracking, and we send it out every month. So this is what we call the budget versus actual, or all our accounts. So here's everything in the library. So library personnel includes your director and your assistants, and your assistant hours are somewhere around 1,000 a year. And I can get you the exact number. So we would love to see as much library assistance as necessary to make sure we're providing services. You have up to 1,000 hours a year, which I don't think is currently in use. So it could be. And then services and supplies. So services, this is what I'm talking about here. This line, I know it can be jumbled. Services are the things you need to run the library. So you're paying someone to do something. And supplies are the things you need to run the library. Everybody kind of understands what supplies mean. So this is what we call the general or operating budget. And these are those main items that get passed every year at town meeting. So then I'm going to scroll down. This is your capital part. So library foundation repair, we talked about that. This is your items that are in CPA, that are library owned, which we talked about already. Okay, this one's really interesting. The library dog fund, which the accountant likes to laugh at. So the library dog fund is money that's set aside from late dog fees to be used by the library. So we're trying to find what it is that the library uses this fund for, and what its need is. This is those late fees. So normally that would go into the general coffers, which we would then distribute throughout the town. But this one's been specifically tagged for the library. And we'd love to write a note as to why and what its use is. It's just a funny name to me. Library donations. So this is your account here for primarily funded by your 5K. But people donating to keep the library whole, which is very nice. State aid, this is money you get from the state in order to help run. So this is in addition to the money that comes locally through the budget. And then you have various trusts, which I'm working in all of our trusts to try and make sure we document them fully, because although everybody remembers why a trust was created, when it was created, generations down the line, sometimes you lose documentation or you forget. So a lot of these trusts here that can be used for library stuff, as long as we honor the original intention of the trust.
Mhm.
So,
I've
so
never
those are the
actually seen the trust funds listed like that before.
So if you're not on the distro, we do send this report out every month,
Uh-huh.
and we send out a detail sheet that shows everything that's been spent from those accounts, and we make that all public. Some people call it an open checkbook, but we're looking to make sure that we did everything right and that everybody knows what we're spending money on, so that when we ask for money, they're comfortable with what we spent it on.
Mhm.
So what I've been telling all the departments is we need to know what all of our accounts are. So I'll be looking to see if you can help me with some of that. And then if we still need them, of course, is a question that we have to ask as municipal employees. And we ask that if you do have alternative accounts, like the library dog fund that's used for whatever, that you use that before you use the operating budget, or ask for more money from the operating budget. And that's, we've been doing that with the Board of Health, the Planning Board, the Board of Selectmen. All of these revolving and accounts, we want to make sure we use those first, so that we're not falsely claiming that we need more money from residents who don't frankly want to pay more in taxes. So those are my missions on the finance side. Chris knows these pretty intimately. I talk about them a lot.
Mhm.
And in stuff that I'll be sending out, I wanted you to hear that from me and kind of what I'm looking to do, so that it doesn't seem so bureaucratic in an email. I'd love to answer any questions about any of that.
Ryan, how do you get on the distribution list? Or how do you find the information on the website?
Okay, so I'll show you. Okay, so if you go to the town website, under departments, everything is stored under the accountant page. And then on the left is all of our navigation links, FY21 budget tracking. So this document, and it's explained here, but this one is the year to date or summary. So this would give you how much is left in each account, as we just saw. And then this document here is how much, or each particular item that comes out of the line. So you can see each line and what's been spent out of it for the entire year. So like you were looking at the town's checkbook, which is why it's called open checkbook. So we kind of created this. There's softwares that do this. We don't have money for that. So we created our own version of it. So it's on the accountant page under FY21 budget tracking. And that's for every department. It's not specific to the library. To include everyone's payroll information and expense accounts. It's all out in the open for you to review.
So I have I think a quick question, Ryan. So are you asking that, or is the town asking that we use trust money before we ask for more money? Is that?
No.
No, okay.
And I hope in my 3 years I've proven that I'm friends of the library.
Oh yeah, of course. You're always a great supporter, and yeah.
So what the town's asking is that the monies that are available to all departments are considered when they look at things like long-range planning or capital planning, et cetera. So if you do have a trust and it can be used for some of the capital upgrades or stuff that you want to do, it doesn't have to be done that way, but it's at least considered. And other things like, and the library never goes over funding. In fact, you turn some over every year. But if you did need additional, or you wanted to provide services or something that you would tap into your state aid as well as just your general fund budget, or asking for more. So we're just looking for everybody to maximize their accounts. So this works the best in some departments collect fees for things that go into revolving accounts. we're asking that those departments use those accounts and not store them as savings instead of asking for more money in the general, so that we can support things like good pay for our employees, more police services, and the things that everybody wants, like roads. So no, I'm not asking for you to use your trust first or demanding that. I'm saying if you could know it and put it as part of the calculation, it would help us big picture.
Okay, so Chris, I think Chris is here somewhere, and maybe she can speak to that eventually, but she pulls money from different lines in our budget and whatever the monies that are being held there for the library. So I'm sure the dog fund is allotted for something already. The library road race is allotted, money is allotted for the money that is donated to the library is allotted for something. That Chris, I think, can speak best to all of that. But what we'll do, I'll sit down and I think I probably need to know more than I know about money when it comes to the library. So I'll sit down with Chris and then we'll respond to how I guess money is allotted, and go ahead.
Yep. So and again, this is just more of an education about what's out there to make sure everybody knows. I had accounts, and everybody had accounts that they didn't know they had. That once we cleaned up the ledger and we found out all the accounts, I'm just going one by one and saying, what is this? What is it for? What is it needed? So that we know, and that we're honoring the original intention of the accounts, or repurposing the money if necessary to help fund things like fixing the library foundation. So Chris does a great job. I'm not saying that anything is, that's why I gave that big intro. I'm saying, you have a big long range plan and lots of plans for the library, and I can't wait to help make them happen. Just I want to think about all the resources that are available while we build that plan.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? I'm sorry, I'm going to have to listen to the recording because I missed most of what Ryan was saying, and I'm very interested in that. But I just wondered about these trust funds, whether there's some kind of like description about what they have to be used for, or whether they could be used for anything related to the library. Were you saying some of that information is missing, or there is a description about that?
I can speak to that.
Oh, fine.
Hello?
Go ahead, Tom, we hear you.
Judy, before she left, several years ago, dredged up a fair amount of information on the trusts in the form of what purpose they were designated for, or who gave the money for what reason. And I have some of that. Some of it's pretty old, handwritten stuff. Some of it refers to town votes, I think. And that's one side of the trusts. The other side of the trust is the financials. The last time I was involved in that, I asked for a report from a company called Bartholomew in Worcester, Massachusetts, that were the financial managers of these trusts. I think they may still be there. Is that correct, Ryan?
Yep, they still manage our accounts.
And so every year we can get a copy of that report. I got mine through the accountant probably 3 years ago. Although time is flying, it may have been more than that. And they are, in this financial world, paying a paltry percentage return. I wouldn't be surprised if right now the financial administration fees rival the earnings. But nevertheless, they exist. There's some money there, and I'll dredge up the purposes. I'll scan what I have and perhaps put together a little PowerPoint, and we can see what each fund is and what we know about why it is. I'll try to do that for the next meeting. We have not spent any trust money that I know of ever. That probably goes back 20 years.
And the new software we have allows you to attach documents, so we could scan that stuff in and just make sure that we know it. Because once you turn people over, like our accountant's been turned over and my position's been turned over, you just lose that institutional memory and you have to reinvent this all the time. So we're trying to create a historical link to all of our accounts, make sure we know what they are, make sure we're using them properly.
I'll try, and I don't know if in today's world we should not only scan the document that says something, but we should take steps to validate what it says. I collected some paper, but I don't know that that paper is the presently governing paper.
Tom, I hate to admit this, but that's better than some of our trusts where we don't have any paper. So
I will produce whatever I have, and including the last Bartholomew report, or maybe even ask for the latest.
that's it. It was just, you have some resources available where you don't need to wait for town meetings or other things or others. You can do things that you want to do and accomplish your plans. So I wanted to make sure you knew
Okay.
that, and then ask how I can help with that as well.
All right, thank you.
Ryan, is there any way to put these trusts in a bucket and call it a new trust?
Interesting. The cemeteries tried that because they have the same amount of trust that you do, if not more. And many of them are very specific, bequeaths on behalf of families for just certain specific things. So we tried, or it was tried before my time, to combine them, and council advised that that's just not allowed. So can't change the historical meanings of trusts. So although we can ask in the library side, I have my doubts.
Well, then it won't be necessary. Let me put together what I have, report it, and then we can move forward.
I do know that a couple of our trusts are actually directed for one thing or another. One of them I know is for town beautification. I'm not sure about any of the others, but there are 2 or 3 trusts that actually are specific.
I agree.
Just because I nerd out on this stuff, Tom and I have had conversations in the past that I know have come from this board about what happens when we fix the town center. Do we want to beautify the front of the library? And I'm just thinking, if we have trusts that are specific to these types of things, and we know that, and we can tie that to the plan, then we can just get a lot of stuff done really quickly and just be really effective as government officials. So that's what's in my mind as I'm going through this stuff and hearing things. Not to control accounts, but to use them for what they were meant to do.
Question, is there ramifications or a process if we have lost track and there is no official documentation for how a trust should have been used? What we then do?
That's what we want to know, is do we have any of those? And then there are processes, but we'd have to start them because they take a long time. So we should try and find that out as quickly as possible.
I believe it might even involve a petition to the court.
It's a lot. So
Wow. Okay. We'll start working towards that.
if there's no other questions, I'm going to go put the kids to bed.
All right.
Thank you
Thank you
very
so
much.
much.
Chris,
Thank
it's
you,
good to see
Ryan.
you. I've been gone a while. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
Good seeing.
I'm
It's
going to
good to
make
see
you the
you too, Ryan.
I'm going to make you the host, Josephine. And then-
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, bye everyone. Thank you.
Bye. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you so much. Bye. Okay, so I guess we have some stuff to discover about the trusts. So Tom, you'll start that, like you said, that process for us, which is really nice of you to take on, and then we'll go from there and talk about it again.
There's much less mystery than what your imagination might.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
It's, a bunch of little 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, and you're right, Judy. I remember Judy sharing that with you, and I remember how interested you were in that, Tom, in the beginning, even maybe before you became a trustee.
That's correct. I was hoping to find the pot of gold.
Mm-hmm. Oh. All right, so I will add that to the agenda. We will come back to that. Tom, if it doesn't have to be next meeting, it can be the one after that, whatever's right for you, time-wise, okay? Just let me
I
know.
don't think it's that hard, and I do have some time on my hands.
Okay,
If I
yeah,
get off
I
the couch.
apologize. I wish I had more time. I don't feel like I dedicate the right amount of time to this, so, yeah, but that's my own feeling, I guess. So, thanks, Tom. I'm going to bring up the agenda then, and since we were sharing screen, we may as well continue to do that. I have it here somewhere. So just give me 1 second and I'll bring up our agenda.
Um,
Go ahead. Was that you, Morgan, or?
I think you need to shrink it. Or
Shrink
yeah,
it or enlarge it? Do you
there
see
you
it?
go.
You
Yep.
see it? Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to go to that. So was someone about to speak? I heard, okay.
You know, I'm
Uh,
sorry, I don't know what's wrong. Be happy to Tom with the documentation.
Okay. So Krista, maybe you can connect with him then. I mean, we all have
Sure.
technology things that happened to me that one night. I know how bad it feels, so no worries.
Luckily, it's recorded, so I'll make sure to
Yeah.
listen to it. Thank you.
So I feel like I should say hi everyone again. Chris, director's report.
Hi, sorry about that. I was having horrible internet problems.
Mm.
All right, so there was a recent study on the OCLC.org tested stacked books in quarantine versus open books in quarantine. When they did it with regular books open and just set aside, the COVID-19 virus went away after 3 days. So we were doing quarantining of the returned items for 3 days and then checking them in. In a subsequent test that they did, it is actually 7 days before anything goes away from various library items when the items are stacked together. And that's how they usually end up in our Dropbox. So we're now changing our quarantine time from 3 days to 7 days, which is not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
We still check in everything with an amnesty mode. So late fees are not accrued. They go away once the item is checked in. And it's easy for Gabby and I to do the same thing because she grabs the book drop on Thursday. She checks them in on Thursday. And I do it on Monday and then I check it in a week later. So it's just something that I have to get the word out to the people. I'll hit Facebook on that and the website as well. All right. We did get a thank you letter from Nikita Guinan, our scholarship recipient, and I have it, but I don't know where it is right now. I am sorry. But she did thank us very kindly for giving her the $500. The ARIS is complete, and we're submitting it electronically, but I do need to have you sign it, Josephine. So at some point we got to get together before the due date is on that. I will be starting the financial reports next week, and those are also not due until mid-October, but those should not be an issue. In August, we had 67 curbside pickups, and we had 55 patrons when we opened the 4th. So we're having a positive curbside pickups, and we're having a positive response to being open. Once we hit phase 3, I would like to expand our hours somewhat more and hopefully get back to our normal number of hours of 24 hours, but we'll see what happens. In the past, once you start loosening restrictions, numbers go up and people back off. So we'll see what happens with that. The Road Race t-shirts can now be picked up at the library. I've put that on the website and on Facebook. We had a number of virtual shows in August. We had Ed the Wizard, who started actually in July, but he let us keep the video up until the end of August. And that was well received, as was the Didgeridoo Down Under Australian show. That was also well received as well for it. We did have the Blackstone Valley Veggie Garden presented canning, freezing, dehydrating evening, but that happened to be the day that the entire town lost power. So the numbers were not very good on that, but I want to push it up to see if we can do something in the spring with her. We had our guest reader patron Natalie and Mrs. Sullivan both read books, and those were both well received. And we're going to be working on the senior book club this month and start it up again over in the tent that they have over behind the school. That is pretty much it. Oh, Lou Gagney, I thought I had his phone number, but the number that I have is coming back is not, it's not in use right now. So if anybody knows how to get in touch with Lou, I would love to have him come over and take a gander at our foyer. So
Chris?
Yes.
You can just walk diagonally across the street.
oh. You know, the problem is I'm now taking 4 classes this semester, and they're all high intensity classes, from human resources to financial accounting to sociology and social diversity. And it's just basically I go into work, I do my work. As soon as I'm done with work, I go into school. So I will see what I can do if I can stop by his house on the way to work one day.
And just, or drop off a note at his house and say, give me a call.
Okay. Yep, that I could do.
I mean, I bet he's on Facebook. I know he's on Instagram, so he's probably easy to find.
I didn't, that's ironic. I did not even think about looking for him on Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen him on Instagram with his child, I think, so I bet he's on Facebook.
All right, I'll see if I can find him on Facebook, Instagram. I think I might have an Instagram account floating around somewhere.
Okay, if you don't find him, let me know and I'll see if I can dig it out.
Okay.
Okay.
And I have his wife's phone number. I just pulled that up. He does have Facebook a bit. I'll message you, Chris, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you, Morgan.
I have a Lucky Handy Lou's handyman service. You want a number?
If you can drop it off to me when you come to get your next issue in New York, that'd be great.
I'll text it. I'll text it to you.
Fantastic, Tom. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
You're welcome.
Okay. Tom, was there anything to discuss or anything that you sent out that email, anything that you wanted to talk about when it comes to the Library Foundation?
Well, as you referenced, I did send you an email, and what I'm trying to do here is I went around the foundation, I went around the building again and tried to scope out the work that would be required. And I'm sitting there writing a specification, and I came to the conclusion that I'm eminently unqualified to do this.
Oh.
And it's the danger, of course, is that you start digging or you start doing something, and then the next thing happens.
Yes.
A big rock falls out or some such thing. So I came to the conclusion that I was going to implement the plan, and I bounced it off Ryan and you, Joanne, to contact the Mass Historical, I said Joanne, I meant Josephine. I bounced it off the Mass Historical Commission and see if I can find a qualified, historically oriented structural engineer to come over and take a look and tell us what we're getting into and help me write such a specification. And then, of course, you hire a contractor under that structural engineer's supervision so that when they're digging along and something looks like it might happen, they stop the activity before anything does happen.
Yeah.
And that would also include, as I've always mysteriously talked about the mystery of lifting the trap door in the floor of the lower level and crawling into there and just seeing how this building is built.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what foundation this building is sitting on, I'm certain it's sturdy. It's been there for 150 years.
Mhm.
But, we ought to take a look down there too. So I
Are
was
you
gonna,
saying that you do want to do that part, or are we going to get someone to do it?
oh, I wouldn't go down there alone. You don't
Oh,
know
good.
what's there.
Oh, good.
The
Yeah.
monster of the library.
Yeah.
No, I would
Probably
ask the
quicksand.
structural engineer to include that in the scope of his
Okay.
inspection.
So maybe we could look at some of the money we have that Ryan was talking about, like the $2,500 that was left over from the long range plan. And I mean, I don't know how much this was cost, honestly. I've never done any kind of work like this, but maybe we can look at some of the money we have and reorganize and ask for it to be moved to a different, for a different purpose. And then,
Well, for the direct purpose of the foundation, we have $18,000 as Brian
okay,
listed. And I think that's certainly enough to hire a
okay,
structural engineer and have him come out and inspect and write a spec. I would think it would be in the, I don't know, based on the architect on the roof there, I think we only spent something like $5,000 and got the whole. Anybody
Good
remember
point.
how much we spent on that architect? But I
it
don't
was
think.
10, I thought it was 10,000, but who?
Yeah, but $5,000 got the show on the road
Mm-hmm,
with a specification and bids taken and everything. So
mm-hmm, okay. So do you want help with that? I mean, Tom, I feel like you have a lot on your plate, and I think this is why, I really want to stress reviewing our strategies, our roles, because you're taking on so much.
I make it sound difficult,
Uh-huh.
but it's not.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, I know things happen and we're all really busy, so please reach out if any of it, because I can make time for whatever it is, and I will make time.
Well, basically what I'm doing is moving it from a do-it-yourself project to a hire a professional.
Yeah, but now you have to go on a hunt for finding who we're going to hire.
Well, I have a list of qualified or not really approved, but people that have gone to the historical commission and say, we do this kind of work. And the historical commission puts together a list of all these contractors. I've gone through that and selected a half a dozen structural talent, and I'll start making phone calls, and I'm going to try to do it kind of with somebody close to home, somebody from Fitchburg or Leominster or Worcester. I don't want to go to Connecticut or Boston and get into the high price stuff.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, so this is one of those tasks that we don't have to put out a call for proposal or an RFP or anything, because it's not it's a sum of money that's under whatever it is. So we're okay just choosing someone.
That's correct. The procurement laws are
Okay.
follow best business practice for under $10,000.
Under 10,000. Okay. Yeah. So as long as we stick to under 10,000, we can just choose whoever is the right fit.
Well, we'll make it under 10,000. In fact, we'll probably make it under 5,000. So don't worry about that.
Okay. All right. So really, seriously, Tom, reach out and we will all step up to the plate if something comes up and you want one of us there. And I don't mind meeting at the library or doing this again to kind of discuss whatever needs to be done.
Well, do you have one of those lamps that fit on your head so that when you go down?
I do. Yes. Yeah. You want to do it? I'll do it with you. I'm claustrophobic, so I don't know if I can go in, but I can certainly shine the light.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So I wouldn't want you to do that on your own. Don't do it on your own.
No, I have no intention. No
Okay.
intention of doing that.
Yeah. So we'll make a plan to go and look and explore.
Sounds like fun. Who's going to get the canary?
Yeah. Okay. So anything else, Tom, when it comes to the foundation projects?
No, that's it. It's just, it always takes longer than you think. So
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So thank you again. So let's talk about the minutes from July and August. I don't know, I panicked tonight. I thought that the agenda hadn't been posted. So I started texting and emailing everyone. That's my lunacy, basically. I think things don't get done. So we have the meeting minutes. I hope that you all had a little bit of time to review them. They're pretty simple. I don't feel like we've had too much on our plate lately. Let's talk about July. Anyone see anything in the July minutes that needs to be changed, updated, or fixed, edited? Any questions about the July minutes? Okay. So then I'll make a motion to accept the July 2020 minutes.
Second,
Okay. All in favor?
I think we have to,
Say
say,
names.
Yeah, so I'm going to, yeah, move my video. I can't see everybody. Okay, Connie,
Aye.
Morgan,
Aye.
Johanna,
Aye.
Krista,
Aye.
Tom,
aye.
and myself, I. Did I catch everybody? I know
Yeah.
sometimes I'm not good at that. Okay, so thank you. The July minutes you passed unanimously. So August minutes. Everyone get a chance to review that. Any questions or comments or anything come up that we need to change? Okay, I don't see anyone. So, okay, so motion to accept the August minutes, August 2020 minutes.
Make a motion to accept them.
Second.
Okay, Tom,
Aye.
Krista,
Aye.
Johanna,
Aye.
Morgan,
Aye.
Connie.
I abstained. I wasn't there.
Oh, sorry. Yes for me. Okay, did I catch everyone? Okay, good, so we can
Can I
move
just
on
say
from those.
thank you
Who was
to
the second
Joanna for taking such good minutes.
Yeah, thank you, Johanna. I know it's not fun to do the minutes.
Well,
I know.
it's my one contribution. I'll take it. Who was the
Also
second?
your
on the
positive
August
attitude.
minutes?
So it was Tom and who seconded?
I did, Krista.
Krista.
Krista, okay.
Thank you.
So I don't know, moving on. Discussions for the 150th anniversary. Is that a discussion we want to have tonight? Anyone have any ideas that they want to bring up?
What I'll be willing to do is go through the minutes that Judy so kindly put in binders for us and see if there's any timeline of interesting events that I can pull out of it.
What a great idea.
I would be willing to help you with that, Johanna, if you need help.
That'd be fun.
Is there any record of the 100th?
There's some there. I think it might be for the town. I saw something about 100th anniversary, but I'm not sure if it's for the library or not.
Mm-hmm.
It was the whole town.
And the library was included, some events or.
Yeah, I'll have to double check.
Okay. Okay, so maybe a little committee or subcommittee to kind of go over 150th anniversary celebration and past activities and other celebrations.
When is the town's next anniversary?
I don't know.
Didn't they just do their 255th like in 2016 or 17?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Give me a second and I can
I
tell us the year.
believe the founding, we were incorporated in 1776. I am fried. My math skills were put to the test already. I believe that in 2 years we'd be the town would be 255. Right?
Very good math skills.
I'm asking for I'm bringing up a calendar or a calculator.
I'm not in a position to challenge you.
In 2 years we would be 255, or we
Okay.
will be.
The town will be
The town.
255. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're talking about are we talking about the library's anniversary, or am I completely? We're talking about the library's 150th anniversary. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's what
So-
I'm thinking about. The
And
town
then are
has
we-
plenty of other people doing stuff actively.
Right. So are we asking if there'll be another town celebration at the same time we'll have the libraries, if we have a library celebration? Is that?
I was only curious if there was any synergy, any coincidence, and it doesn't appear to be.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, so maybe we have a little bit of time, but that time goes really quick. So if we do want to have some sort of celebration or activities to celebrate the library's anniversary, we really have to start planning. And is any one of us a party planner or an activities planner? No
I-
one's raising
I've
their
done
hands
it.
at that.
I do a lot of programming.
Oh, yeah,
So,
that's
like
right.
I've coordinated
Mhm.
conferences and stuff like that. So I can certainly help with that. If we can come up with an idea.
An idea. So maybe even like a theme or something. So maybe Krista and I forget who was going to review past events, libraries, find out if Johanna, if the 100th anniversary celebrations there and what they did, and maybe we can, if there was a theme, then maybe we can pick that up and go with that. But and then Connie, you can tell us about wonderful library activities and for celebrations. Okay, so we'll keep discussing it. Okay, any other comments or questions or anything anyone want to bring up?
I'd say I'm happy to pitch in and help. And I don't know if in the future, as we discuss what comes out of the archive, if we get inspiration, if Connie comes up with ideas, if we want to form like a subcommittee like we did for the scholarship, we might want to form a 150th subcommittee.
Yeah, and maybe we could get a community person involved in the subcommittee, or a volunteer from Scouts or something. Yeah,
Or
so
maybe someone from the historical.
Okay, or the Historical Society. Yeah, so maybe even 1 or 2 community volunteers, people who might be interested in history and the library, and it's just, so yeah, so let's think about what we would really want to do and how we can involve some other people so that it goes off really well and people want to come to it. But also, Connie, I can't help but go back to that. We were going to do that cake, the literature. I feel like that fits into something like this. It's like, what was it called?
The Edible Book Festival.
The Edible Book Festival.
Yeah.
I love that, and I want to see our library do that. And we got all messed up.
I know.
This year. So that I think that would fit in as an activity for a celebration, a library celebration. So.
Absolutely.
Okay.
A couple other quick ideas. I don't know that it's a stretch to come up with 150 ideas of things to find in the library or to celebrate with the library, or things to do at the library, etc. Provided that we're
Scavenger
back to,
hunt.
Yeah, exactly. In 2 years, we should be back to normal. Working with the Historical Society, etc., we could pull and perhaps do a social media campaign of share your stories of what you liked at Hubbardston Library.
I love that.
And kind of get community engagement on that.
That's cool. You could make that like an oral history project, and send it to StoryCorps.
Would be cool.
That would be so great.
Also looking and tying it in with our long range plan of getting involved with the school. We could ask the elementary school students to kind of get involved in either at the younger grades, like K through 2nd or 3rd, ask them to draw a picture of the library. And then for maybe a few grades up, like 4 through 6, is ask them to write a quick paragraph or something about the library.
I think that's fabulous.
Yeah, I think I saw some, I think we did something like that once. It was like a Love Your Library campaign, right? And you could do postcards and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, that sounds nice. Yeah, so I think keep the ideas flowing. We have a little bit of time and then we'll narrow it down. Yeah, so it's a little after 8. You know how I like to keep the meetings a little tight time-wise, but I don't want to cut anyone off, of course. So I think I want to skip over our trustee roles and go to the road race committee update, because I feel like that should have been before. So Connie, I don't know how to go besides the shirts. The shirts were cute, the colors.
Yeah, I haven't seen the shirts yet. So
Okay.
So as Chris mentioned, they're ready for pickup. Mark said that he was distributing, like, he had 92 shirts. So I don't think that means there's 92 participants, because I know other people got shirts that didn't necessarily register for the race, like some investors or some donors and stuff like that. But I'm gonna guess there's probably 75 to 80 people who probably registered for the race.
That's pretty good.
No, we've got 90. He had over register for it. And I have your shirt at the library, and I have Tom's shirt at the library. Everybody else has gotten theirs. So,
Okay.
but,
Yeah, I'll be over Saturday, 'cause I think I have to pick up Scott and John's shirt too, because they were part of my registration fee. So,
okay.
yeah, so people have to have their time submitted by Saturday. So if you did sign up for the race, get walking tomorrow. And Mark is projecting that we'll probably make $1,300 to $1,400, which is surprising because we weren't sure if we were shooting for a break even, you know, for this, because we weren't going after donors.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, Mark handled this. I'd send him emails asking, like, you know, what can I do to help? And he's like, got it under control. So, so I think it was a little bit, and maybe some ways it was easier this year because you didn't have to do like the day of coordination, right? So yeah, so it sounds like it's going well. So
I definitely felt it on that day last week, or the day it would have been. I definitely felt it on that day that the road race didn't happen. But yeah, it did happen though. Just happened in a different way.
it's happening. Yes, in a different way.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Oh, you know, it'll be really interesting too. Not just a quick. In 2 years, it'll be the 25th anniversary of the road race too. So that will tie into the 150th anniversary.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, we'll have to figure out how to make that fun and eventful.
Yeah.
Okay, so any other comments or questions, or anyone want to know anything else about the road race, or so I didn't actually see the long range plan go out to everybody. Does everyone have it now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so, and I know Chris has a
Yeah.
copy at the library.
And I have 2 copies here. I lost a copy, printed out another one, and have 2 copies now.
Okay. Yeah. So did everyone get a little bit of time to look, like take a look through? I know it's a pretty big document. It's got a lot in it. So does anyone have anything that they saw in there? A couple of you are so new to the trustees. Questions or anything about the long range plan at all? We don't have to discuss our roles right now because I think we're, you know, figuring it out, I guess. But anything anyone want to bring up when it comes to the long range plan?
Well, as I said, when I was looking over it, the library, a special thanks to Chris and Connie, I think, on this, as well as everyone else, but especially to those two, for making so much of what we wanted to do happen, even with the COVID crisis going on.
Yeah. It's amazing how many activities have happened at the library during this time, Chris.
I have been very fortunate that I've had a really excellent staff. Michelle did a heck of a job with the story time, and the town employees really came out and in droves and did a great job reading. So I have nothing but great things to say about them, and it wouldn't have been possible without without them. So
the readings are so fun. I love seeing the teachers reading and the teachers and the staff reading. It's great.
Oh, when I saw Mrs. Sullivan reading again, it just brought back such wonderful memories.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen her in a while until I saw her there. Yeah. Yeah, what a nice thing. Are you continuing to do that? Having people record their readings?
If people step forward and want to read a book, I'll get permission for it and put it up for the time that the publishers allow us, and absolutely. So if any of you want to read a book, let me know. Be happy
to read one.
I think you should.
What would be the right book? I'll have to think about it because I would want it to. I know what would be the right book. There's a book for kids and yoga. I forget what it's called, but I know I own it. It's in my office. So it's actually, you get physically moving and breathe and stuff.
Cool. That would be great. I think.
Okay, so I'll put my yoga clothes on.
Awesome.
So
Cool.
People are recording it at home and then sending it to you? How are they doing it?
2 ways. One way, someone shared it through Google Docs with me. So I just downloaded it to my PC and then uploaded it to Facebook because apparently Google and Facebook don't talk. And the other one just gave me a thumb drive, a flash drive with it on there. And then, you know, I checked it on a unaffiliated PC that wouldn't have anything happen if anything was negative, you know, like a virus by accident.
Okay.
But there wasn't. And so then I moved it over and uploaded it.
What do you think of this? If I went into the library and did it in the kids' room, because I feel like the rug for yoga is beautiful in the kids' room.
Yep.
And if I got my kids involved and I read the book with them in the background doing the poses, I think
That would be very cool.
so
That
fun.
sounds freaking
Okay.
awesome.
I'm gonna have to see if I can get them. I'm sure they'll do it with me. I have to see.
Sure,
Okay.
we can rearrange everything. I've rearranged the children's room so that everything is like 6 feet apart as best I
Yeah,
can.
there's a big space there. It's perfect.
Yeah, so that would be fine.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you. That's so
You're
fun.
welcome.
Okay, so any other questions or any discussions about the long range plan? How should we go about doing this? What's your idea? Because I feel like I keep putting it off. And I don't want to keep putting it off. So what are your ideas on how to get moving on that?
Put it up on,
Tom?
well, as I said earlier, the ability to put it up on the screen and just read through it and make sure we all understand what it says collectively. And then as we're going through, we'll all, I think, feel free to make comments or just keep it rolling and get to the
Okay,
end.
so-
And
Okay.
it's a little unclear to me as to what we do with the 5-year plan.
Okay. Okay, so you're saying a good starting place, and I agree, would be just sharing the screen, putting it up there, and starting from the beginning and going through page by page and seeing what's in there and talking about what's in there.
Yeah, it's not that many pages.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Okay, so should we do that as part of one of these meetings, or should we have a separate meeting for that? What are your ideas?
I feel like we need to have a set of time dedicated to it and not like 10
Yeah.
minutes. Like, I feel like there needs to be like a good solid or 30, 40 minutes where we can talk through it all.
What if we dedicate one of these meetings, the entire meeting, to it?
That would work. Part of me almost wishes we could see face to face because I think the energy is very different. And I know the seniors have a tent up. I don't know if we can like do a couple tents or something like that so we can all be outside distanced and shouting at each other happily or not.
Uh-huh. How does everyone feel about that?
We have to remember that it will be a public meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget, I hear it a lot, I hear it often, but I forget what the guidelines are. We certainly I don't think we want to encourage public to participate in such an outdoor or under the tent kind of meeting. I guess I'm leaning towards just doing it by Zoom and doing the best we can. If it doesn't work, we do something else.
Well,
I would
let's-
almost second it, just given that like 8 o'clock right now, it's dark out and things like that. So the feasibility of actually being able to read and go through it. I second that. It would be pretty easy to go through the document and be able to see page by page with everybody. I did go through it. I second and concur with those who were speaking. It's been really nice to see the growth that we've already accomplished as far as social media and programming and things like that. I felt as if, honestly, what we've had on our agenda is very specific and just simply, I wanted clarification because it had said strategy 4, and I felt like it was an entire objective rather than just a strategy subset of it. So I wanted to find out clarification of what we wanted to discuss, because it had said we've had review strategy number 4, library trustee role on the board to be discussed. And what I felt and what I read was page 7 was strategy 4, library trustees attend professional development opportunities related to their defined role on the board. And I felt like we needed to back up because I don't feel like we've identified specific roles on the board that we have. And I think in order to do that step, are there examples of what roles other library board trustees have? Like, is there a menu of titles that we can choose from? Are there specific roles that we should be filling that we're not?
When Jane was librarian for both Hubbardston and Petersham, she said that they had a board of trustees of a huge board of trustees, about 12 people, and each one was in charge of one specific aspect of the library. That might be something, if you want that sort of definition, to check with Petersham and say, okay, how do you break out what the trustees do? What do you consider, a trustee's responsibility versus, say, a library director's responsibility?
There's that trustees handbook on I think it's the MBLC website. I could go through that. I'm pretty sure it mentioned a few specific things. It's kind of like what we were talking about, like a subcommittee for, different, we could set up subcommittees for different aspects of what we're trying to accomplish. I don't know how it works with the long range plan, but a lot of the things that, we were listed in there, we've already done some of them. So I don't know if there's a way to have a separate copy with some notes about what we've already done, and then we can figure out what, I'm not saying we're done with them, but we've achieved we've achieved them.
And they're ongoing.
Yeah, and then we could focus on the certain things that maybe we haven't gotten around to.
So I think I haven't looked at the long range plan in a little bit, so it's not that clear. That page is not that clear in my mind at this moment, but I think the way that I see trustee roles is in some ways what we do already, but just clarifying it and writing it down. So that's the part we haven't done yet. So is there a subcommittee that looks at grants? Who's interested in that? So, when we're ready to look at construction grants or, some of the stuff that Tom's talking about, where's the committee that sits down to look at that? When we're talking about activities for an upcoming event, maybe there's a trustee who's interested in taking that on and heading that subcommittee. That's the way that and much more, but that's the way that I see us figuring out what our roles are here. I don't want, I guess, I feel like when we have set goals as individuals in this group, then we feel like we're, like, speaking for myself, I feel then I am being more effective as a trustee. And I want to bring that to this group. I want the trustees to feel like they're being effective at their jobs as trustee, because it's a big responsibility to run this library. And so, I just want us to feel like we are accomplishing something. And when we all have a task, we can work towards that a little easier, I think. I'm going to do that teacher thing and repeat myself over and over again, and I don't want to do that. I don't like when I do that. So any comments on that? Or
I just put, I found the MBLC handbook. If we want to review it, it's 174 pages, I'll just say, of seeing. I think that in my experience of different organizations, it's one thing if you have a board that is comprised of a dozen or more volunteers able to divide and conquer versus like 5 or 6. When you have half of it, you have to wear either many hats, and a lot of times they overlap, but it's almost as if and oftentimes much better if everybody does a little bit of everything and has understanding of everything, so that when there is a vacancy, etc., you don't feel as much of a loss as if you have a dedicated individual or trustee for specific roles sometimes. Just my 2 cents.
okay, so something to think about, and think about it. I mean, I think go through the handbook. We all should have received the handbooks when we became trustees. I know I have my handbook, came in the mail not too long ago, I guess.
An MBLC handbook?
Yeah.
I haven't.
You never received it? And maybe it was when Judy stepped down that I don't know, because I know I got the handbook in the mail. Hi, dog.
I'm pretty sure it's online.
Yeah, it is online. And I think Morgan's looking at it online right now. So,
Yeah, I found it online.
I mean, I think we all have to have our hands in all of it, because I agree with you, Morgan, that we're a really small board. And we all have to have our hands in everything. And, you know, the thing though that my concern is that one or two people take on a lot of the responsibility, and that's the reasoning for just kind of looking at what we're all doing, basically. That's my reasoning. And the original plan of the long range plan, the intent in the long range plan. So, questions or comments or anything else anyone want to say?
I want to thank Chris and Gabby for keeping the show on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Doing a great job.
Here, here.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much.
And always with a smile too.
Absolutely, that's the
Always
requirement.
with a smile. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I will write up a new agenda with some of the stuff we talked about tonight, and we'll keep moving forward.
Okay, and as far as having a the meeting about the library trustee rules, we can always set up a specific meeting for that.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily trustee time, and
Well,
get that ball rolling.
I mean, I wonder if, because our agenda is pretty small, I don't know if you all agree. I mean, if you think it's an overwhelming agenda, but today we've had more on there than we've had in a while tonight. So I think if we dedicated most of a meeting to looking at the long range plan in general, starting from the beginning, I absolutely agree with that. I don't know how long it would take us to go through the entire thing. Maybe it's more than one meeting. But if we dedicated a meeting and we started with that, what do you think about that?
I think that sounds
Dedicating.
reasonable.
Doable? So
Yeah.
what if we dedicate is the next meeting okay with everyone, or is that too soon?
I agree. I think we should try to do it next meeting. And worst case, if we start getting through it and time wise, but I mean, I think we should at least get started.
Okay. So anyone else want to see it be done different?
Would we still start with like the library director's report and then just jump into this as the primary agenda item?
Yeah, and accepting the minutes. So we'll do library director, accept the minutes from this meeting, long range plan, and Tom, this gives you a little bit of time to, you know, do the research that you're going to do. So you know, let me know whether you want it added to the next agenda or not, the work that you're doing.
You mean to the trust?
Yeah, the trust but also the foundation stuff.
Oh, yeah, the foundation will be too slow. I won't have much to report next month.
Oh, okay. So then the trust. So I think we probably could squeeze in the trust, because you're thinking it's not too much.
No, I'll have the trust done, no promises, but pretty quickly.
Well,
Okay, so then.
If you need help with that, I could help, but I think it would be good to have that information, because we might be able to target some of that money for some of the things in the long range plan.
Yeah. So, okay. So in our October meeting, we'll start with the director's report. We'll review the minutes, and then we'll jump into long range plan, and then we'll look at the estate or the trust stuff. And I think we can do that. So let's do it that way. I wanted to add this meeting. I have had trouble scheduling our meetings on the first Thursday of the month, and this is why. There's another board that meets at this time, and they only have one Zoom account, I guess. And when I've used the Worcester State account, I have had trouble uploading the videos. I don't even know if the videos have gotten there, because people are like, get us the videos, and then get us the videos, and I try again, and then I don't hear anything. So I assume the videos got there, but I don't know for sure. I don't want to go through that again. It's too hard to try to get those videos to Ryan or I forget the other person's name. So I don't know if it's okay with everyone to move to the second Thursday of the month. This way we don't have the interference with another meeting and not getting that slot.
A comment on that. I believe Ryan recognized that issue, and he now has 2 Zoom accounts,
Oh,
which lets him, oh, this is what he said to me, you might want to
Okay.
check with him. But he
okay.
has two Zoom accounts, which lets him run 2 meetings simultaneously.
Oh, okay.
And that problem, which you suffered through, and we're sorry for that, but I think that problem is now resolved.
Oh, okay. So then let's keep our meeting to the first Thursday of October. And if I run into that again, I'll let you know. I'm really sorry. I know it stinks to move
Oh, no.
meetings. But
No, I think you did a great job using the other service and accomplishing it all. Just give Ryan a call and ask him, we have 2 accounts now, and I think he'll say
Mhm.
yes.
yeah, I'll email him tomorrow. And then, okay. Yeah, perfect. So anyone else want to bring up anything?
Yes, I do. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I got 2 events coming along in October, and they were both originally, well, one was rescheduled from July to October 2nd, and the other one is Greg Maycheck towards the end of October, which is his pastel group.
Yep.
My intention is to keep it to a limit of like 8 people, because I think I could put them in the children's room, with masks, with him teaching, and it would work fine. The other event is Mary Jo Maycheck, his wife. She's a storyteller, and she is she's the only one that I had for the summer programs that didn't do a video alternative or a Zoom alternative. So we rescheduled to October 2nd. She doesn't want to do a winter one because, who wants to drive in the winter time? Because there's going to be a storm the day she does it. And so I'm comfortable, either having her outside, everybody social distancing. But if there's inclement weather, then again, I would limit the number of people. Are you guys comfortable with those things, or would you be very uncomfortable with us going with an in-person show at this point?
I take it it's a daytime activity.
Yes, for a daytime for Mary Jo, an evening for Greg.
Excuse me, what is Mary Jo doing?
She's a storyteller.
Oh, so okay.
Is this for adults or children or?
For children.
And can Maycheck do it through Zoom, like be in his space and teaching?
Oh, no, his class, he does a pastel class.
Yeah.
So it's very hands-on. He brings all the materials. It definitely has to be an in-person show.
Okay.
But like I said, I can certainly limit the number of people that can come in, and I've got the tables that I can do where everybody would be 6 feet apart. And it would be up to them. If they choose not to attend, then that's their choice. They are both Hubbardston Cultural Council grant recipients as well.
Have there been any other activities in town, not library related, similar, like people getting together and gathering?
Well, they had the Hubbardston Fair in June, and they're going to have the field day is it next week? I think they're having it. So
the fair was those are both outdoors, right, at the rec field?
Yes.
There were a lot of people at the yard sale too.
Oh, yard sales.
Yeah.
And some people, I would definitely require masks. If they don't do masks, then I'm happy to be the meanie to say, no, you can't come in without a mask.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with that. I will give you a heads up though that I'm running out of battery on my laptop.
Okay. I mean, I don't know how everyone else feels, but I know I wouldn't want to go.
And you don't have to. And it may be that we only get 1 or 2 people. I know one person is really looking forward to Greg, and she may be the only attendee.
I make a recommendation that we allow Chris to conduct these in a fashion she thinks appropriate, and further that if there's another table or another chair or a plastic screen or whatever you need to accomplish it safely within the guidelines, you know, less than, I don't know how many people the governor says and all that kind of stuff. I think you should be able to pull it off according to your judgment.
So my understanding is, I mean, it depends on the space, and I thought, but I could be wrong, that we were limited to like 8 indoors based on 1,000 square feet. I don't know if that still stands. Other indoor events statewide, I know the current one was limited to 25 attendees to events. The Hubbardston Field Day is scheduled for the 19th of September, so not this weekend, but the following Saturday, and I believe the rain date, if there is a rain date, would be for Sunday the 20th.
What I think Chris said, it would be the artist +8 or the artist +7. I didn't.
I think it would be.
Yeah, I've limited, we have about 1,800 square feet, but because of the configuration, having more than 8 people in one of the rooms is not feasible. And because of the shelving and everything, it also inhibits the 6 feet separation. So for the story person, I could certainly have her, you know, I've got an easy up. I could put it out there and, you know, people could hang out on the lawn and that would be fine. If it's inclement weather, again, we would limit it to 8. And if I can get those, we have masks at the library because, you know, in case someone forgets. And I could certainly get those plastic face shields as well to you know, add an extra layer. And if she needed to, if she was uncomfortable and she wanted to have a sneeze shield, we have the sneeze shield for the library as well. So.
Okay.
Do we have prospective dates in October for these events? The 2nd?
October 2nd is the story time, and off the top of my head, the pastel class is later on in the month. I think like the 20th, but that one I'm not quite sure about.
Any other thoughts? Agreed to let Chris make the decision?
I agree that let her to make this. I think it's fine to make the decision. I think we just watch it. There's like an influx of cases. We reconsider as it gets closer. But right now, it seems like, you know, if we practice good social distancing, you know, you could have 8 people. I mean, you know, we still go to work. I mean, some of us are going to work in person, and like, you know, and if someone doesn't want to come, they don't have to come.
Well, I'd like to also have Chris consider what I'll call externalities. For instance, the more global situation or the more statewide situation. If anything comes in from that level of caution, then that should be considered as well.
Absolutely. My mindset has always been that as we take a step forward, if we have to take 2 steps back because of increased COVID tests, you know, the numbers go up, then I have no problem with that. But they've been going down, and there was an up, but I think 52. Massachusetts has been doing pretty good, and the area that we're in has not had a lot of cases. If you look at the map on Wednesdays, mostly it's in urban areas.
What's the status of the Hubbardston School? And a sub-question, what's the status of the Hubbardston School relationship to the library?
There is none right now. I'm not having the 3rd grade classes come over. And the only thing that I have is I had one 4th grade teacher ask if kids could get their library cards remotely. What they can do is they can fill out the form, but they can't get the cards remotely. They still have to come in, show some, you know, their parent has to show some form of ID that is acceptable for us before we can get a library card for the children.
And the school system?
I have no relationship with the school system at this point.
Are the kids back? What's going on?
They are, yes.
Yeah, this week. They went back to school this week. They're getting used to, and they're doing, some are doing fully remote and some kids are doing hybrid.
Well, are we ready to adjourn?
Well, I don't know. Are there any other questions or anyone want to discuss anything? Okay, so as of right now, we have our new agenda for next month. Looks like the meeting is October 1st. I believe that's the first Thursday. And we didn't discuss Halloween, and I don't know about handing, you know, how I usually hand out Halloween candy. I don't think I'm going to do that this year.
It's possible they may not even have Halloween this year. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not losing sleep over it, but I'm sure that they'll, we're obviously not doing the story time trick or treating. So
Mhm.
I wouldn't, I don't mind having the, that's the case.
Okay, and it is on a Saturday and the library's closed, and yeah, okay. So yeah, I don't think I'm doing it, and there might not be Halloween this year anyway, so.
Can
If
I
there's,
just ask about the recording? It'll go onto the town website. Is that what happened?
yes.
Okay.
I've even seen it on YouTube. I don't know if any of you have seen that, but I've seen the town recorded meetings on YouTube.
Okay, so just wait a couple days and it'll be up there.
Yeah, I don't know how quickly they get it there, but he gets it there pretty quickly, or I don't know if it's Ryan, but yeah. So,
If in the future, one of us has a real hard time using the internet to get into this meeting, you can also call in with a hard line and at least hear everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks for that
Krista,
reminder. That probably would have worked better.
Krista, I saw you chatting and I tried to respond, but it's hard to like focus on this and
No,
do
it was no
and
problem.
get
I
to
just
the-
wanted to let you know what was going
Yeah,
on.
I mean, it's happened to us all. Very first meeting, it happened to Tom. A few times after that, it happened to me. And now you've had that nice experience. So anything else anyone want to talk about? Okay, so let's make a motion to adjourn the meeting. It's 8:36.
So moved, or I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Connie,
I agree, yes.
Morgan,
Aye.
Krista,
Aye.
Tom.
Aye, and thanks, everybody.